So the US now has more unemployed people than job openings. In 2 weeks' time, the Fed will cut rates and quote unquote blame a collapsing labor market. A lot is about to change. Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to the XRP holders. We're going to elaborate a little bit more on what this really means. But if you're looking across the board right now, as we can see, the market once again, as far as the 24-hour time frame is concerned, we're still seeing a retracement across the board because Bitcoin decided to make its way back down to 110,000. We actually closed the daily candle below 110,000. I'm sorry, below $111,000. Even though we're seeing over the last 1 hour the market bouncing, you can see across the board, majority of the market has seen a little bit of an uptick, and that is due to Bitcoin kind of bouncing back above 111. But primarily, as far as the daily candle close is concerned, it was below the $111,000. But looking at the price of XRP, let's give it a refresh live here for us. $2.80, down 1.3% in USD, down about 0.5% in Bitcoin comparative. The valuation, 166.8 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume holding nice and strong around the 4.5 billion mark. As always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So what does this really mean? We talk about the rate cut. The fact that, forget about the rate cut right now. Look at the US has now more unemployed people than the job opening. That means that, if they don't step in, to cut the rates, things are going to get more expensive, and the economy could slightly tip back into the recession part. So they're going to come and cut the rates, and maybe we might see multiple rate cuts because, of course, there's a FOMC meeting taking place in September, and there's another FOMC meeting taking place in December. So I think we could see multiple rate cuts based off of this specific news that we're seeing right now. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, of course, about this specific thing. But look at this. Shout out to X Finance Bull. How are you still bearish on XRP with this right in your face? He mentions RLUSD just crossed 700 million market cap and 3.2 billion in transfers. Fastest growing stablecoin on the planet, backed, regulated, live. And I could not agree more about RLUSD as a stablecoin. As we know, stablecoins are being discussed across the globe at this point. All the financial institutions, big corporations, they're looking into stablecoins, and especially getting the green light here in North America with big corporations. They're going into the stablecoin market because they understand the potential that stablecoins really bring. And if they want to use a stablecoin, they would want to use a stablecoin that has all the checks for itself in terms of regulated, making sure the reserves even exist. And RLUSD checks all those boxes. So I'm not surprised by no means that RLUSD has gained such a positive feedback, as well as not just feedback in terms of the numbers. It speaks for itself as to how far it has come in such a short span of time. Really gives us a better understanding as to what direction RLUSD is really going. And a lot of people right now think that XRP has no interest, right? XRP is whatever, it's going to be like the Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to be the main players. Not much interest is going to be coming into XRP and other assets. But look at this. Shout out to Brad Gerlinghouse. Per CME data, XRP future contracts were the fastest ever, just over 3 months, to hit $1 billion in open interest. This is CME group numbers, guys. The future numbers, it's literally crazy, the fastest ever. That tells you that there is interest within XRP. And as we know, there's some analysts that have come out and said, they think that, XRP ETF is being slept on, and in terms of inflows, it's going to break some numbers. And I totally agree with that. A lot of people are sleeping on XRP ETF potential. And I think once it goes live, that's where we will see really, its main potential coming out in front of us. But take a look at what Nate says. Major exchanges continue to quietly work with SEC behind the scenes on a generic listing standard for spot crypto ETFs. Given final deadlines on existing spot crypto ETFs filings, reasonable to expect that this would be in place by early October. Then crypto ETF floodgates open, meaning that they're making it easy for exchanges to come and go ahead and file for ETFs, as well as listing standards, make it easy for exchanges to go ahead and list these ETFs. And of course, if this is in place by October, then that means October there is a huge chunk of different deadlines for an XRP ETF, along with, I think it's Dogecoin, I believe, HBAR, Solana. So could we see a major floodgate of that happening? I potentially think that will happen in the month of October, but we're setting ourselves up for a great quarter four. That's what a lot of people are not realizing right now. A lot of people were not realizing that last year as well during quarter four, even though it was a total different time that time, because of course there was no, it wasn't that you were anticipating a rate cut. It was more on the election side of things. Market really didn't do anything until November. November is where things just went parabolic once Donald Trump won the election. People were still sidelined because, of course, if it was still under the old administration, people knew that crypto is not going to go, to the levels it needs to go, right? Because in terms of standards, in terms of regulation, in terms of clarity, nothing was there. Nothing was there. And literally in the last 8 months, we have seen so much happen. People got to give credit where it belongs. We have seen so much happening for this space in such a short span of time. And, people expect it to, be set in stone overnight, like meaning you could go to your bank and buy crypto. No, it's going to take some time, but the fact that that clarity is there, we have laws that are coming in place. Those are the things that we need to be focusing on. But take a look at what Jack says. Now exceeding 700 million market cap, RLUSD is already powering the enterprise finance, from payments to tokenization to collateral across crypto and traditional markets. As global institutional demand for RLUSD rises, Ripple is excited to work with our partners in Africa to kick off distribution on the continent. Driving utilities scaling globally, RLUSD is on the move. Speaking about ETF, the Rex Osprey XRP ETF set September 9th as the launch date. So we still have about, I would say, 4 days left, or 5 days. We're coming up on the weekend as well. Tomorrow's Friday. Can't believe, time's going by so fast, guys. It's insane. But I think they're going to come and step in and, delay this till October. I have a strong feeling. Obviously, there's still a lot of days left. Let's actually take a look at when September 9th really is. I think it should be on Tuesday. So next Tuesday is September 9th. That's where we will see, the deadline by. So I think they might step in by Monday and, make this delayed to, kind of offset that. So again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. But if you're looking at the dominance here, we saw a major spike for the dominance itself over the course of the last, few hours, and that was due to Bitcoin. Look at what Bitcoin did. Bitcoin was sitting at obviously 112,500. We came sharply down to $109,300, and since then, we have seen this big bounce, but still dominance is still hovering around this 58.8% mark as to where we currently are. Dominance is starting to show strength. Now, nothing crazy, but it is starting to show strength right now, something we want to keep in mind. Bitcoin, again, time in, time out, I've told you guys, if we're below 115, the chances of us to see more downside is still in play, and it's showing time in, time out. That as far as XRP's price is concerned, we're still ranging at $2.80. Nice consolidation, but of course it's going to react to Bitcoin, and with the way the dominance has gone up right now, again, believe it or not, this is very, very important to keep in mind. Hence, you're still seeing the price sitting at $2.81. In the grand scheme of things, still good. I like where we're sitting. A lot of people don't, obviously, because people want instant gratification. They want instant parabolic moves, but we got to take a look at the bigger picture rather than, just focusing on the shorter time scales and see how far XRP has come, as well as the project itself. Love each and every one of you guys. I'll see you later. It's been Crypto ZX, and peace out.